Connecticut Real Estate Appraisal Commission meeting for September 11th, 2024. Call this meeting to order. Before we get into the agenda, I would just like to, as I do on this day, 23 years ago today, in another hour or so, we all remember where we were and what have you, and let's not forget the memory of those people we lost in DC and New York, and those first responders, if they were pastors, first responders, and so forth. It is. I can remember the year after when that happened, and we had a commission meeting and the ceremony that was had. But anyway, they let's make sure they're never forgotten. Reviewing of July 20th, 24 minutes. Are there any additions, edits, corrections that need to be addressed? Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept as presented?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Norris.
I'll second.
I'll give it to Jennifer.
Jennifer, you second it?
Or Marie.
Okay. Or is it Anne Marie? Was that Marie?
That was Marie.
Marie? Okay. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? That passes. Before we get into the old business, I want to take care of the education because there were a lot of flying around emails and so forth on this. We can see, and I applaud Debbie and all who worked on putting these together over the summer months and the emails going back and forth. Are there anything that raises any concerns with any members of the commission or members of the staff that has been presented here?
Are you going to do it like always, the ones that have AQB first, and then we can get into the ones without?
Yep, we can. Sean,
So I'll make a motion to approve all the ones that had AQB and IDAC approval.
Okay, so that would be AAL 1259, Shauna.
Yeah.
And including APR 357. Am I?
Which is on our agenda because the other ones, the numbers are in between, just so you know.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's presented on our agenda.
Yes.
Am I correct with that, Shauna? Understanding?
Yeah, as presented on the agenda.
Okay, that's a motion is put forth by Shauna. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Jen has second. Questions, discussions?
I have a question. I don't see it on here. And are we going to get to it later? AAL 1278.
That's not part of this
That's on the
motion.
next batch. That's the next batch, John.
Oh, that's the page that didn't print for me. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or edits on this motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Okay, very good. Now we go to the next page that are no AQB or IDEX. And this is where, John, you had a question.
Yeah, on the AAL 1278. I don't have my sheet in front of me to see how many hours they're requesting.
They're
5,
requesting
John.
5.
And that's all I went through that, and that's all I was given. It was 5. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a note here that I thought maybe more 3. So.
Yeah, but I went through it and I started thinking about how we approved the economic stuff for appraisers and some other stuff. And, I do some agricultural appraisal, and there's some topics that were in there that are pertinent to appraising, certain types of property. So I didn't see a problem with being updated on those topics that have to do with yields and things like that, because that directly affects agricultural land values.
Yeah, right. I went through it and I thought I saw some appraising stuff. I thought there was also other stuff in there that wasn't necessarily part of it. So I had 3. I don't know. Anybody else have an opinion?
I've just found the American Society of the Farm Managers, their stuff to be, on a top shelf stuff. That's my only thought on it, over the years. I don't care one way or the other, folks. Whoever wants to make a motion.
Well, I'm just going through, because, just real quick, it's got U.S. economic and policy outlook, which pertains to value. How much can appraised farm values differ from appraisers? That is legitimate. The Farm Bill 225, I think, is very pertinent because it impacts. You got to remember with agricultural products, when you have grants and federal subsidies coming in, it can, it increases profit of the crops and the yields, which then impacts what the value is to the residual value to the land. So then you have outlook on appraised precision farming adoption. I can see that. Does being green mean more green? I mean, you're talking about, lead and stuff like that. The social media marketing, I didn't think that was part of it, and that's one thing that I took out of it. But the future of weather definitely impacts agriculture, and the outlook for Corn Belt agriculture, that definitely impacts. You're talking about economics. It's the same thing as talking about mortgage rates or, supply and demand and stuff like that when we're looking at industrial buildings or something like that. And then the next one is rural land values, and what are your maps going? And that's interesting to me because of, all the tech that's going on right now. So that's why I gave it the 5 hours, not the 6.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Can I make a motion?
You may make a motion.
I'll make a motion. AAL 1278. American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers, 5 hours.
Okay. Do we hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Just for AAL 1278 discussion.
Yeah, I still like my 3. I would probably compromise to 4, but I can't go 5. So
Okay. Any other comments by members of the commission? Hearing none, I'll call the motion to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays?
nay.
Abstentions? Okay, then it passes and duly know that Shauna is a nay. Okay, my question is on the other ones here. APR 350, it says 32 hours. Are they looking for 32 hours of CE?
No,
Or
APR would
qualifying
mean it's a
education?
class. It's qualifying education. APR
Yep.
means qualifying
No,
education.
I understand, but did they also apply for CE, which is typically done? Debbie, do we know if they did?
If it's, I don't see it on here.
Okay, so then they just put it in as a class. Typically, they would put it through for both.
It might come up next month. It might
Okay,
come up next month.
fair enough. Then we'll cross that bridge if it needs crossing next month. Fair enough. I was just trying to be it. I know there has been some substantial changes in Chicago with the Appraisal Institute and the education department, and that's why I'm asking that question. Okay, we have AAL 1267 through APR 350. We've already done 1278. Are there any other questions, edits, or discussion points needed for those 6 presentations?
I did have a question mark on 1267. To
Okay,
see whether the people.
1267, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if everybody thought we should give 7 for that.
Yeah, I had a question on that too, because I have down, it's 6 hours plus an hour for the exam. I couldn't remember if we gave an hour for the exam or not.
If they pass it.
No,
That's
when we
been
approved the
how we've
course,
looked at it in the past. Yeah,
But if
So
you
it-
don't take the exam,
then you only get 6.
Do we have to specify that? I think we need to specify that.
We've been doing that for 25 plus years. That was thing. What happened in the early days is people would just sign up and then hand in the exam blank in a minute, and therefore they get their hour and they didn't care. So therefore we had put historically said you had to pass the exam to get the extra hour.
Okay, I'm okay with the 7 hours then, if it counts as the exam and they have to take the exam and pass it.
But to Shauna's point, we can specify and say you only get 6 if you don't take the exam, or if you don't pass the exam.
If they don't pass the exam, they're not paying attention to class.
So they don't get the extra hour, you know?
Donna, what do you think?
Wow, you can say that about every class, right? You know,
That's how we've done it in the past. Doesn't mean we do it now and in the future, you know, but
all right, so I guess I'll make the motion on 8L1267 that it's a 6 hours if you take the class, and you can have an extra hour if you pass the test to get 7 hours.
do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Great. Any more discussion? Hearing none. Excuse me, Sean. Your motion, that's just for that. Did you
Yeah, just
also
for that
include the
one.
other courses? Or
No,
just for that?
Yeah, because that's unique, so let's just.
Okay, so for AAL 1267, we have a motion and second on the table for 6 hours. If you take and pass the examination, you are granted the 7th hour. Do I have that correct, Shauna?
Yes.
Okay, I call that to a vote. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions, so that passes on 1267. All right, so now we have any other questions or issues or whatever we want to say from AAL 1274, 1277, 1286, 1287, or APR 350.
I'm good with those. I'll make a
I'm-
motion to approve those as presented.
Okay, so Shauna has made a motion as presented on those 5 submissions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Norris has seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions. Very good. So we have now taken care of the coursework. I want to applaud you, Debbie, and whoever may have helped you putting this together for the last couple months. So there were a number of email trails and taking a look and raising things for us to take a look of. So we're in good shape. Okay, I'm now moving back into the agenda for the old business. And the old business, we have number 1 on there for today. Dan Booth, RCR applicant, revised experience log review and sample selection. Supervisor RCR Andrew Hayes. Is Mr. Booth and Mr. Hayes with us this morning? Calling again is either Mr. Booth or Mr. Hazo, Hazo, Hazo. My apologies for mispronouncing it.
Andrew Hazo, I'm present.
Very good. Good morning, sir. Is Mr. Booth with us?
I see somebody's calling in. Not sure who that is.
What we will do, Mr. Hazo, and am I saying that correctly?
It's Hazo, yes.
Can you hear me now or no?
Oh, is that Mr. Booth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good morning. Are you able to get on the camera, Mr. Booth?
I tried. I'm on vacation right now. I talked to Debbie about it before.
That's okay then.
Last
We'll just
week it
move
got
forward.
moved.
Okay, Mr. Booth,
Okay.
could you please, for the record, give your name, spelling of your last name, and your business address? And Mr. Hazo, the same thing will occur after Mr. Booth does that. Okay, Mr. Booth, the floor is yours, please.
Sure. It's Peter Booth, but I go by Dan, and Peter is spelled Peter. Middle name Daniel, DANIEL BOOTH, and the address is 101 Pearl Street, Hartford, Connecticut.
Thank you. Mr. Hazo, could you?
Yes, Andrew Ohazo Jr., which is ANDREW, 'HAZO JR. Address is P.O. Box 375, Washington Depot, Connecticut, 06794.
Thank you very much. Reviewing experience log review and sample selection on the RCR. Are there any questions with the log by members of the commission and or staff?
Do we have a log on that? Debbie,
Uh,
why does it say
yes.
log? I know we have the samples.
Because it was a revised log that you guys wanted with,
Yeah,
along with his samples, because he had a, he was tabled for 6 months. Actually, it's been a little bit longer than that, but I sent the experience log on July 16th at 4:14, if that's helpful. Resend, hold on.
Did anybody else get these? Because I don't have them. I went back and looked, and I got a Peter
Yeah, I don't
Daniel
have the
book.
log. I have the
I don't have the
samples, but
log.
I don't have the log.
Okay, you have all 4 reports, correct?
I do have the
Mhm.
reports.
Okay. Hold on, let me. Daniel books.
Was the
Sorry,
log
guys.
previously approved?
Yes, twice in the 2 other meetings.
Okay. I see this goes back to January 10th. And with Mr. Ohazo. And so are we here? Therefore, we have approved the log, I would assume. If we have now asked and we see 4 reports that have been put forth for review. Am I in error on this?
You know,
And,
excuse me, I think I may have written revised log in error
okay.
because I don't have notes that he has a revised log.
Okay. When I'm looking at
apologies
this
for that.
on the 16th, we had a typo. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Therefore, we have 4 reports: Pine Court, Bristol, Smith Street, and North Branford. Are there any questions by members of the commission who have reviewed any or all of these 4 that would want to present to this, to ask Mr. Booth some questions?
I have questions, if you want me to go.
Please do.
All right, so Mr. Booth, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is North Branford. 10
Okay,
Nita
is that
Drive.
the one on Nita Drive?
Yep.
Okay.
So my first question would be, I saw that you had a note, but you had 2 in a different town, North Haven instead of North Branford. Why would you
Yep.
not at least grab a couple in North Branford if you needed to support, extra support as a fourth or fifth comp to grab the North Haven one, when there are plenty of sales in North Branford that you could have used.
Because at the time when I was reviewing the reports, those were the best comps. As you could see that they are raised ranches and stuff like that. And I'm pretty familiar with the town. They're in less than a mile radius. And I thought they were the best comps that would support the value.
Have you done an analysis on the sales of North Branford to North Haven as a whole? That people would rather be in North Branford than in North Haven.
I disagree on that. I think that because of the area and where it's from, I think that they're very mutual with the area and the comps. So,
do you have data that supports your values that they're similar? I mean, basically, most of the time people want to go to one town over another's, usually for the school system. Obviously, it's different school system.
It's close enough, and the data, to me, it made sense. I'm very familiar with the area. My grandparents grew up there. I checked out all the houses.
But why wouldn't you give me
The
at least
data made sense.
you could have gave me more comps in North Branford.
At the time, there were no better comps, and if you see a comp, you're more than welcome to share it. But those are the best comps that I felt the criteria as the need to drive.
There. Can you see my screen or no? Can you see me?
I can't this second because the meeting got pushed back, but
I do
said
have
before,
7 sales.
Those were the best comps.
I have 7 sales, and they're certainly from North Branford. But if you can't see, I can't show you them. But I do see.
I mean,
again, I think you should have given me more sales. You should have gave me more sales.
The ones that I had, I'm very familiar with the area, and I support that data 100% because there were 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I support.
Yeah, one's a split level.
Like I said, I'm familiar.
One's a split level. You could add another raised ranch in North Branford. Certainly, I don't mind it being there, but I also think there should be a comment to state that the markets are similar. That you say there was no better comps. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I'm going to move on. On comp 3, you had one that's 28,000 square feet compared to 40,000 square feet, and you didn't make any adjustment. And then on the same comp, you had that it's 33 years old compared to 56. When people are buying houses, they're looking at a year range usually. There's no adjustment made for those.
Hold on 1 second, just because I'm in town. That you said comp 3?
Yeah, comp 3, 57 Hanson Farm Road.
1 second, I'm pulling up the work file. Hold on. Because this was a few months back. Are your sales, are they within a different price range, or
my sales in different price range? I don't understand the question.
Because the actual age is less important than the condition, which is based on updating.
But a house that's 20 years older is going to eventually have more upkeep.
I mean, like I said, I support the comps that I put in there, and I think the market value, it came to what the market value is. That's just.
Well, I need you to support what you feel and how what you're telling me with facts. How about
I am. Like I said, I'm
No, you're
very
just telling
familiar
me
with the
this is,
area.
you know.
I'm
That
very
air
familiar with.
conditioning, central air conditioning is a more of less of a factor than a fireplace. I don't know too many people that go out there and say, I definitely want a fireplace compared to I want central air. So how did you come up with
And
an
back
adjustment of 2,500 for air conditioning, but 5,000 for a fireplace?
and back to the age thing. I disagree. Actual age is irrelevant when it comes to comparing comps, unless it's like 100-year thing. It's not going to make a difference in the adjustment.
We have to agree to disagree. So explain to me why you think central air conditioning has less of an impact than a fireplace.
Central air. Hold on.
Yeah.
Which comp are you referring to? I have to again.
I'm
I have
looking
to
at your
pull up.
adjustments.
Yes,
Your
I'm
adjustment for a
saying
fireplace
which
is
one?
5,000. Your adjustment for central air is 2,500.
Okay.
So that means central air has less of an impact than a fireplace.
I mean, if you look at the other comps, then you'll see the reasoning why.
Why? I'm asking you.
I just determined all the adjustments based on the market reaction. That's what I did.
Do you have any sales data to support central air being worth less than a fireplace?
I don't understand how you're determining your adjustment.
I'm taking your adjustment. You said $5,000 for a fireplace. That's what you have. You said $2,500 for air conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, I support that. Like I said,
And how are you supporting that?
it came down to the market value and everything there, and I'm familiar with the area. And at the end of the day, the value and everything, I stand by the value of my appraisals with that.
Well, I'm glad you stand by it, but you have to be able to explain it to somebody. Well, I have a couple more questions on that one, but I'm just gonna go to the main one, which is the square footage. I see that you added the room in the back, but your basement square footage and your first floor is the same, and you can clearly see in the back, there's an overhang for not counting the 60 feet, but there's another overhang that you did not, so they can't be the same.
Which property is this?
And Nydia, what is it?
Nydia?
Nydia Drive, yeah.
Yeah, I just determined all my adjustments based on market reactions and the data I analyzed.
I'm asking you about the square footage.
For which one? For which comp? I mean,
The subject.
Shauna, what's
You're
the
saying the
question? I'm
subject-
sorry, I'm trying to follow. Shauna, what was the
The
question?
subject is, he has 1,308 square feet.
Okay,
His basement has 1,248. There's an area in the back that's 60 feet that you can clearly see that is not basement. That makes sense. But there's
Okay.
also, when you look at the picture, you'll see that there's an overhang in the back that the first floor extends over the basement. So it has to be more than the 60 feet. When you look at his sketch, there is something wrong. Either his basement number is wrong or his square footage is wrong.
thank you. I just want to follow your questioning. Okay.
So I'm trying to find out, how did he calculate his square footage of his basement versus his first floor, because it's more than 60 feet difference.
I mean, I just determined, because I was at the property, the size of the basement versus the comp that I looked at and everything. That's how I determined that with the
This
square
has
foot.
nothing to do with a comp. This is just a subject.
With with it being how it was completed and how the condition of the basement, that's how I
I'm
determined.
not
my
asking about
adjustment.
condition, I'm asking about square footage.
Mr.
I know.
Mr. Booth, this is Mr. Rasmussen here.
Sorry.
How did you get the square footage? Did you measure the building or did you take it off assessor's records? How did you determine? I think is where Commissioner Barron's coming from.
Gotcha. Well, I was there at the property and I measured it and did all that. And the basement, at the time it was bigger than the first floor. So
What?
that's
You have it
Did you,
small.
excuse me, did you just say the basement is bigger or larger than the first floor?
it appeared to be bigger or larger than the first floor, correct?
Okay.
At the
Thank you. I
time,
just wanted to
both
make
of
sure
them.
I understood what you were saying. My apologies.
No, it's okay. No apologies. Like I said, I stand by, like I said, the value of the property. I'm very familiar with the years and everything there, and I stand by the values that I gave for all the properties.
All right, well, let me move on.
Yeah.
Let's go to Pine Court, because I had to find one that had a cost approach. And in Pine Court,
I didn't know okay, yeah.
you have a land value of $40,000. I'm not sure if you can buy any building lot in Connecticut for $40,000. It reminds me of when I bought a house back in 1980s. $40,000. How did you come up with $40,000?
Hold on, I'll just open in my work file. 1 second. Gotta pull up Pine Court. You said for the cost approach.
For the cost approach, yes.
Let me just look. So the land value, I put in my notes, I put the land value is based on the land sales of the town. That's what I put for.
Well, what sales do you have that shows that? What, do you have the sales in your
Whatever-
folder?
If the sales were, whatever sales were on the MLS at the time, it might have changed over time, but I put
Well, they should be
the
in your
land
folder, right?
value.
They should be in your work
I
file.
Yeah,
What sales
that's what
did
I
you
put in my
use?
work file.
What sales did you
I don't
use?
have- I don't have
The
every
town-
single sale.
The town has a value of the land of
Shauna,
173.
Shauna, what property are you looking at? I'm trying to pull it up.
Pine Court,
Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Okay, 11 Pine
Thank
Court.
you. Thank you.
If you look at the MLS, I don't see any other sales that have data to support what you're saying, if that makes sense.
You need to support the 40. I'm looking for the sales that you have that show me a building lot in Bristol is $40,000. And there's a couple ways you can do that. I'm looking for either sales of building lots.
And the
And
land
which ones
value
did you use to do that?
was based on the land sales of the town at the time when I went to the MLS.
Well, those should be in your work file to support. So what sales do you have? What land sales do you have?
The value of the sales. I said the land value is based on the land sales at the time.
But you don't
That's
have
what I put.
you don't have what sales you used.
There's no specific sales in the work file. I just put what was in the town at the time. And you could go back if you had to check and see the MLS, but that was the value at the time.
It is your responsibility to be able to explain this all in the report. So I think a part of the problem is that
that's what the land value was.
All right, can I jump in real quick here? I agree with Shawnee here, Mr. Booth. I just looked at all the land sales going back to 2022 in Bristol, and I really don't see enough to come up with a 40,000 land value. So I think what Sean is saying is we have as part of USPAP, we have a record keeping rule, and we're supposed to keep in our file all supporting data for anything that we put in our report. And in your file, you should right now have land sales to pull up and explain to us how you came up with that $40,000 value. You remember, we don't come up, you keep saying you support, you support, you support. The reality is, of course, we support our work, it's our work, but it's not us dictating value, it's the market. And if we get to the point where we start thinking, I think the value is this and I think the value of this, we've now stepped out of our shoes as an appraiser and we've become biased instead of unbiased. So Sean is making a point that you should have these sales in your file to support that land value. Do you have those sales in your file or in your office that would be indicated in your file?
What I put in my file at the time, because this was months ago, was the land value was based on the land sales in the town. That's what I put in my file.
That's not sufficient.
May I make a suggestion, folks, here? Commissioner Rasmussen here. Mr. Booth is on vacation somewhere. And would it be best that, Mr. Booth, you can go back to your office when you come back from vacation? You understand where Commissioner Gavin and Commissioner Barron are coming from. And you want to double check your hard files that may be in your office that may help support your presentation here, and we pick this up next month, or is there going to be nothing in those hard files that you may have at your office? I understand you're on vacation, and that's why I'm trying to.
The last one got.
Can I just say, as the supervisor and also as a signer on the report, I'm very confused about what John and Sean are saying, because there is sales data to support that. I just pulled it up right now. I like they're totally off base. Okay, there's sales within that price range within those same zonings. Okay. Now we could prepare this and get down to a serious debate, but they are out of line. This is inappropriate for them to say facts that are untrue as commissioners, and I would appreciate that you retract those comments.
I asked what sales you used to come up with the value. What sales do you have? List the sales.
Mr. Again, I can see where things are heading here, and I'm trying to be fair to all parties here. Mr. Booth is on vacation. He may be trying to do this one arm tied behind his back. He may or may not. There may be files back at your hard files. Is this something that would be best for all to push this off into next month so he's at his office, has all the files, and he can have this discussion?
Okay, well, this is data that's clearly readily available to all of us, which John just said he pulled up. So we have sales within this range, within the same zoning classifications within the area of residential land. And Shauna is saying that nobody would pay these amounts for land values. She doesn't know what she's talking about. This is inappropriate. Okay. And this cannot stand this way.
Andrew, we're not debating your value. Okay. We're not debating any of that. Value is value. It's your opinion. What we're debating is Mr. Booth ready to go out and actually hang his own shingle and start doing his own thing? Now, I just went and pulled comps. That's what I looked at because that's what I have easily accessible to me. And I just ran sales all the way back. And I didn't see a sufficient amount of numbers. There's one for 54,000 in here. There's one for 51,000. There's one for 60,000. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. I'm not seeing all at 40. I saw one at 9,000. I saw one at 31 and one at 45. That does not give me 3 sales there to show me there's enough sales. Now, there may be more sales. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that we have a record keeping rule. That's what I'm focusing on as part of USPAP that says you're supposed to have this stuff in your file or something in your file that says where it is. Now, for example, in our office, we have a database and we have the file number in the report that shows where all that information is kept in our database. That's fine. I think you need to read I'm agreeing with Chairman Rasmussen that you might want to postpone this, go back and read that record keeping rule and go back and look at your files and make sure you have all the supporting data into the files that you actually submitted. And then we review this next month.
Well, yeah, but we do have the data to support that. What I'm saying is Shauna said that there's no values out there to support that. Now, how does
I'm
she say
asking
that
you
as a
what those
commissioner
sales
and
are.
appraiser?
I'm
She's not
asking you
saying
what
that.
those sales are.
Okay, listen, but if we're going to get into this debate, then yes, I would say we want more time to prepare this, but you know that we're going to come up with those sales. I have them right here, okay?
No.
Like,
I don't care if you come up with the sales rate. We want to know if you have them in your file or not. This is
And what,
us
yeah,
saying
and
if
what
you're,
are the names? What are those accounts? They're in your file. You should have them right there.
Okay,
because why? Because you feel that this is not a supportive value?
no.
Which
I would
is
like
it
to
has
be-
to do
I
with
would like to be able to
complying
support
with
it.
use cap.
With all due respect,
Complying with use cap.
incorrect, John, incorrect. Shauna said that no one would pay these land values. That's what she said. Nobody.
Yeah.
Okay, we have
Oh.
sales data to support that. She is
I'm
inappropriate
asking
and
you
out of
for
line.
that. Show me which
Okay.
ones
Right
they
now,
are,
I
or
think-
show me wrong. I
Mr.
have one more
Booth.
comment. I have a lot of
Okay.
more questions, but I have
No.
one more that's really kind of serious.
Well, I have
that
some
have to
Shauna,
at least
Shauna,
throw out
I'm
there.
so-
Shauna, I have
Shauna?
a question.
I need to
Shauna,
throw
I have
one
a
more
question.
out there.
Why did you refer to an area of Waterbury as a bad area? That is an unethical statement that you made in a previous meeting, okay? And then you
Bad
seem to
area.
have a basic misunderstanding of the appraisal form based on other comments you've made.
We're not talking
Okay.
about Waterbury. So.
folks, okay, we're going to stop right here. In fairness to everyone, Mr. Booth, you are on vacation. I want this to be continued at the next meeting in the October. Put it on the agenda. Mr. Booth, this is your work. You have the idea. You hear there are some questions, Mr. O'Hara. You've been, Hazo, excuse me. I have been duly noted, and therefore you can, if you have that data that you say you have, and I'm not questioning that you don't have it, but therefore it's right there, and therefore, in fairness, to help Mr. Booth explain and support his position, I think that is what is best at this time.
Okay, I would like to put on the record, it's a little hard to state a position when you have a commissioner like Shauna, okay, stating that no one would pay those land values when there are sales out there that support that. Okay, it's a little hard to deal with a commission like this. Okay, that is
Andrew, as
ridiculous.
a commissioner, it's a little hard to deal with you being so aggressive and so defensive too. Okay, and I've been doing this for 10 years. You're the first person I've ever had to say this to. You are very defensive and aggressive. Our job is to uphold public trust. Okay?
Excellent.
And when someone comes at us that's very defensive like this without supporting data, you're not upholding public trust, buddy. You're not. So I suggest you calm down and review what you think. Next month we'll be in person, face to face, with your work files, with all the data, and then we can start over. I'm done.
I will not.
I'm not saying another word, Jerry. I am done.
So forthright. I will not have to be so forthright if you act as commissioners in an appropriate manner and don't state facts that are absolutely untrue and try to screw Dan up, okay, and trip him up. Okay, do you know how many trainees that I've trained throughout the years, throughout 33 years? How many times I've been in front of the commission? How many people are respected
when Dan was
appraisers out
talking,
there?
you were typing on your computer. You weren't even paying attention to the questions he was talking about.
Commissioner Gavin, okay. Folks, I am going to move this now to next meeting. Put it on the agenda, please. Okay, for all parties involved. Okay, we are going to move on.
I want to ask you one question, Jerry. Before just one. Yeah, I have one question on a report that's going to come up next month. If I don't throw it out there, would you like me to address it now or wait till he comes in front of us?
You may as well, why don't you just state the question and therefore they can have an answer for next month for you, Shauna, okay? In fairness, okay?
Sure. So on his report, on the same report, Pine Court, he has that the subject transferred in May for $200,000. And then in his comment, he said that the current sales, property values have increased in this market in 2023. So I have no issues with that comment, but then when I go to look at his comps that were sold in 23, he has no time adjustment. Based off of his comment that the prices were increasing in 23, there's no price adjustment for the comps that sold in 23. And I would like to know why.
Can I just ask for a clarification?
But you can answer it at the next meeting.
Yeah, no, but I would just like a clarification so we can get a proper answer. Can you read the exact statement that I said about the transfer that Dan and I put in there?
The subject transferred on May 10th, 23 for $200,000. The appraiser attributes the difference between the May 10th sale price and the current sales price estimated value to the fact that property values increased within this market within the price segment during 2023.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Booth, Mr. Ohazo, I thank you for your time. We are going to put you on under old business number 1 in October. Okay? Will you both be
Yeah.
able to make that meeting?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
I'm not positive on the exact date. I mean, it's been over a year and I've been doing this and it's just.
Mr. Booth, when you come in, just have your files, okay? I hear your frustration and so forth, but in fairness to you and to everyone here, I think that is the best course of action at this moment. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, both for your time. Okay. Debbie, please note that I would like that on for old business number 1, okay, for the October meeting. Thank you. Number 2 on old business, Joseph DeToro, RCR applicant, revised experience log and sample report review. Supervisor, it says, but there's no supervisor listed.
I'm here. John Valentine.
Okay, it's you, Mr. Valentine. You're the supervisor?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is Mr. Del Toro here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, and I'm sorry to mispronounce, Joe. Oh, sorry about that. For the record, can you please state your name, spelling of your last name, and your address of employment, and the same thing for Mr. Valentine. Okay?
Of course. It's Joseph Del Torto, Deltorto, and then the business address is 180 North Taylor Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut.
Okay. Mr. Valentine?
John Valentine, Valentine, and the address is 180 North Taylor Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Debbie, can you give a very quick overview, please, of where we have with this applicant?
Sure. So Mr. Del Torto had sent in a revised experience log per your request, per the commissioner's request, and additional and sample report review. So I sent you links on.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Yeah, I emailed them to you on 5/21. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. I'm just cross-referencing here. I'm sorry. On 7/16, I sent you those links. So he had to correct his log, submit the report, the 4 addresses plus 1 of his best. And he's using Spark software link, which I sent you on 7/16 as well for your reference.
Very good. And I do see that. And we have here. Are there any issues by members of the commission with the log presented?
So I just got a question on the log, and I know we talked about this last, so John, maybe you can explain. On the log, and I think I'm looking at the revised log, it has down all his experience hours is 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours throughout the log. Is he only working? I know you guys sent us the updated software.
That's not the revised log.
There's an updated one. There should be an updated one.
So,
and I think the updated one, let me pull it up so I have it right here. I'll tell you. It'd be easier to just do it this way. I think the updated one has, hold on 1 second. At the bottom, it should say the total hours are 7,500, around there.
No, I don't have the right log. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and I took all your comments last time into consideration. So, and also to make it a little bit easier for everyone to read the log, all the reports that I inspected with John in the new log, I highlighted in red, and all the ones that I inspected by myself, I highlighted in purple. I don't know why I picked purple, but and I also did take into consideration and actually in this past couple of months time myself typing some reports to make sure I gave you guys the most accurate numbers.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions by members of the commission and or staff concerning the log presented?
I'll go, I guess, again.
We're just on the log right now, Shauna.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I think I'm fine with the log.
Okay. I want to get a motion that we accept the log first. Okay.
I'll make the motion to accept the log.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to accept the log presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I think Maria, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. Maria is a second. Okay. Any questions concerning the log? Hearing none, I'm calling a vote on the log. Ayes,
Aye.
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 nays, abstentions. So the log is passed. So
I'm going to abstain on that because I don't have a copy of that log.
Okay, then we'll, for the record, we'll note that Commissioner Galvin is abstaining. Okay.
I just emailed everybody again.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then. Now we're moving over to the sample report review, and Shauna, this is, I believe you wanted to start off, so the floor is yours.
I will be short and simple and quick. Actually, I thought these were pretty good.
Thank you.
I just have one comment, I guess. Just one to say on your 180 Glenbrook unit 62.
Yep.
I would be careful on the age, just to think about an adjustment there when so many years different. And then you didn't have any comps that sold within the complex, right?
No, yeah, I think at the time, and I could pull it up to see, but I think at the time that was the only comp there's no comps within a year in that complex. And yeah, looking at this comp 3, you're talking about the actual age 16. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Next time I should probably put an adjustment on that and explain it too.
I guess, because you didn't have a comp within the unit. If you look at the HOA fees, you see it's so much different than the other ones.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, what's the market inside of there? I mean, I'm okay with the report. I thought the report was fine, but it just makes you wonder a little bit more. If you had a comp within there, it would definitely solidify the whole thing. And, I'm always one to say you can always throw in an extra comp just to support it, even if it's a little longer, to say, look, this is the last sale that sold in here, and you can time adjust it up just to help support, to say, so somebody doesn't have a question. But I think these reports are fine, and I'll even make a motion to approve him.
Hang on just a moment, Shauna, before the motion. Are there any other questions or comments by other members of the commission on this applicant? Hearing none. Back to you.
I'll make a motion to approve his samples.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Barron. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Norris got in this one here. Commissioner Hawkins is the second. Any questions, discussions among members of the commission? Anything from staff that we should take into consideration? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
1 second. Yeah, just 1 second, please. I'm looking to see. Hold on. I'm looking for his log. I have it here. It's just not opening. It says it couldn't be opened in protective view.
We've already voted on the log, Debbie.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just asking for a copy of the log because the copy she just sent is the old one. It's not the new one. So I don't
Okay.
have I don't have the new one. So if you could send that to me, I'd just like to keep it in my records.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the motion on the, any other thoughts? Didn't me, Debbie, is there anything that you want on the experience stuff, the reports?
The only thing that I would note is that the majority of the work that he did was offering significant assistance. On the samples that I saw, there was only one out of those 4 samples that he sent in that he actually completed the whole report by himself. The rest of it was he was there's a note in there that he provided significant appraisal assistance to his supervisor, John Valentine.
Okay.
Can I answer that?
Feel free, Mr. Valentin.
So a lot of our clients don't allow the provisional to sign the report, so that's why we have to put that in the addendum. So since they were chosen randomly by you guys, we weren't able to like specify the ones that he specifically signed and inspected. So
Yeah, and then also when you guys asked for one that to provide one that I did sign, you guys had already picked one that I signed, so I just left your selection. The 180 Glenbrook one, I think that is the one that I do have my signature on, and I did inspect without my supervisor. Yeah.
I was thinking about this, Jerry, and we're supposed to have in the certification where it says who, if someone contributed significant of work to the person signing this report, and in his reports, they're not in that. That now, I don't really know if that's a violation or an issue, but I from his Joseph's answers last time and this time, it's obvious that he's doing the work. I think and I know what Debbie's concern is if the examiners pick this up and see this, and I know we've had other appraisers come before us and explain the same thing that John just explained. Would it be appropriate as an option to just have both of them sign a letter just certifying that they both agree that Joseph did the bulk of this work, and this is and stick that in the work file with the experience in his state file, so if the examiners pick it up, they have something to that effect? Does that matter or not? Or does it matter, not matter?
John, always, personally, more is always better than less. Okay. And we have a motion on the floor, but let me just say this. Clients are asking more and more things that are pushing this um, the USPAP standards really into some boundaries. Tomorrow there's going to be a class given on AI and certifications and so forth. We're really starting to get into some choppy waters, and this is something that, as you bring up, it is there. We can vote on this, and I think that is a suggestion that I think would be beneficial to both Mr. Valentine and Mr. Del Toro, that it's taken care of. I agree with what you were saying and what Sean was saying here, that he's been doing the work and what have you. I think it's very challenging. I'm going to be polite here with our residential appraisers today in the marketplace of trying to navigate these waters that clients are presenting to the Mr. Valentines of the world, the Mr. Del Toros of the world, and trying to get their experience. So I would suggest we vote for this, and then John, I would like to, after that vote, make the suggestion. I would surmise that Mr. Valentine, Mr. Del Toro will be more than happy to do so. So we do have it in the file.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on the motion on the floor? Hearing none, I'm going to call it to a vote. Ayes,
Aye.
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 nays, abstentions. Gentlemen, congratulations. Now, you just heard Commissioner Galvin put something forth here, and we're trying to help things out here. Would you be able to send something to Debbie's attention with both of your signatures, the work presented forth as the samples were representative of Mr. Dortora's full work here, or something to that intent.
Can
Absolutely.
I also make the
Definitely.
suggestion? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Can I also
please,
make
John.
this? Was someone else going to speak?
No,
Can I
you
also
are.
make the suggestion that in your reports, just review the certification and use PAP, because I did it once before, and in my reports with all my provisionals, I have it. There's a specific language that you put in the certification. Now, if you're not, if your software doesn't allow you to add it in your certification, then maybe just change the wording in the report. Say, in addition to the certification attached, and then word it the way it's recommended or suggested in USPAP. Okay, going forward, just to cover yourself.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that.
Okay.
We're always
If you
tweaking
could-
our reports.
Yep. Well, congratulations.
Thank
If
you
that
so
could be sent, I know it's a Wednesday. If that could get over to Debbie, I don't want to be pushy by the end of the today or tomorrow. That would be very helpful for our end. And we wish you nothing but the very best. And thank you for being here today.
I do have one question.
Please, the floor is yours.
Debbie, what are the next steps after we send you the our signature?
Okay, the next steps would be, as soon as I get that affidavit from you, I'll contact our liaison who will send your name over to PSI. It takes a day or so for PSI to turn it over and get it into their system. They'll send you an email with the information to create an account, I would assume, log into their system and choose a date for you to take your test. Test is very hard, so study all of
Yeah.
your qualifying education material. Study that because has like I believe it's a 75% failure rate. Not to be, raining on your parade, but it's not easy. And that would be it. And as soon as you do pass, just let me know and we'll get you all set up there.
Awesome.
I just wanted to ask one question, if I may, relative to the statement that you're asking for, Mr. Chair. Do you want the statement to be notarized or not?
I don't know if that's necessary.
Okay,
But I
just want
thank
to
you
make
for
sure.
bringing that up.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you.
do you want just both of our signatures on a letter, on the same letter?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Okay,
Very
thank you for
good.
that clarification. Thank you.
And let me, I'm thinking, although I wouldn't think so, is there a legal issue why, Vicky, that you're bringing this up, that it should be notarized, that I'm not aware of?
Well, the only thing that I was thinking, just in terms of the audit, because it's not something that we normally do, if, to add credibility to it, if it's notarized and it suggests, that's all.
Mr. Del Toro, Mr. Valentine, you're hearing where people are trying to help you here, okay? If you can get it notarized, I think it only enhances things.
That would be more difficult because I'm in California right now and he's in.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
then that takes care of that.
Then that
okay?
takes care of that, doesn't it? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. No, we appreciate the candor and laying everything on the table, okay? Okay, if we can get this letter over, and in the event that we ever have issues with the audit or when they come through, then we'll address it at that time.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you,
everyone.
gentlemen.
Yep.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice rest of your day, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, number 3 under old business, Ari DeBush, RCG applicant, sample report review, supervisors. We have 3 here. And who do we have on? Is Mr. DeBush, are you here this morning?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, are you able to go on screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thank you. And are your supervisors here? Or one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them?
I think they should be here, yeah. It's Christopher LaGreca and Michael McGuire.
Chris LaGreca's here.
Okay, Mr. LaGreca, can you go on screen? Is it possible?
Yes, sir. I thought I just clicked it on, but it
You
should
are.
be on.
There you go. There you go. And is Mr. McGuire here today, or it's just Mr. LaGreca representing on the sponsorship?
No, I'm here, Jared.
Okay. Hi, Mike. If you can go on screen as well, that'd be appreciative. Thank you.
Trying to get it up.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yep. For the record, Mr. DeBush, can you give your name, spelling of your last name spelled out, and your address of employment? And the same thing will be needed for both of your sponsors.
Sure. Name is Ari DeBush, DABUSH. Place of appointment is 64 Wall Street in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Thank you. Mr. LaGreca?
Christopher LaGreca. I work my own business, LaGreca Appraisal Services, 86 Shadowwood Road, Fairfield, Connecticut, 06824.
Thank you, Mr. LaGreca. But also for the state procedure, can you just spell out your correct spelling of your last name?
Of course, LA space capital G RECA.
Thank you. And Mr. McGuire?
Yeah, Michael McGuire, MC, capital G, UIRE, 64 Wall Street in Norwalk.
Very good. Thank you,
And
gentlemen.
Jerry, one point of clarification. Ari doesn't work here any longer. I don't know if that's an issue because this is not his place of employment. He left about, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks ago, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay.
As soon as he got close to the hours.
Okay. Mr. DeBush, the address you just gave, is that where your employment is now?
No. I just gave that kind of because I didn't know what else to say, to be honest with you.
Whatever
sorry
your
about that.
address, even if it's your home address, what
Okay.
what address?
I'll give my home address. Yeah, it's 14 Marshall Lane in Weston, Connecticut.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right then. So, Debbie, making sure we're all on the same page. Mr. DeBush's applicant is before us, and it says sample report review. Am I correct? Is there any additions, subtractions, edits that we need to add to that?
Nope, that's what we're here for. Just sample report review.
Okay. I open up the members of the commission. Do you have, and Mr. DeBush, you've been probably listening to things here. This tries to go within about a 20-minute time frame here, and then a vote is taken. I should have said this earlier. As acting chairman, I only vote in the event there's a tie, but I can ask all questions and have been known to ask a number of questions, okay, or clarifications.
Sure.
So, to move further, is there questions from members of the commission on Mr. DeBush's sample review?
Shauna, did you want to ask any questions on the residential?
I got a question. John, if you can go ahead and start. I just got a couple. And then I'm
I don't
done.
really have, go ahead, Shauna, you have anything? So I don't really have any questions. I was going to make some comments, and then I want to ask a question to Mr. McGuire. Just one comment is that, I know you have your format and you're going by your format and stuff like that, but sometimes I think, and you have, your client and your client knows you and you trust you and stuff like that. And I understand all that. But for instance, when I was reading 64, whatever it was, Francis J. Clark, for instance, you took a rent loss deduction, which is appropriate, but you didn't really explain how you actually came up with that. I think you said there were 14 units and you took, I don't have it up in front of me, 6 or 3 units. So my suggestion is just, going forward, whenever you're doing a math calculation or a calculation that actually impacts value, as you might have heard in the previous person, make sure you have suggestions, just put a few more words in explaining how you calculated that, how you came to that, etc. And then like on your rent survey, I saw that you, in a couple of reports, you took the rent strictly from CoStar, and that's fine if your scope of work is limited to that. But then you have a couple of other charts in there, and you really just have them in chart format. I would expect that if we asked you for your work file, that you would actually have a little more detail in there so that for your own benefit, it's fine for the reporting part of it, but for your own benefit, if you have to go back and read, analyze that rent in relation to another property, your notes and stuff and comments on what was included in that rent, if it was a build out included, free rent included, escalations included, things like that. It's just, a little more detail for yourself. Same thing in that report, you talk about the site work. And you relied on the site work from the property owner, from the builder, which is reasonable. But just be cautious of when you're accepting something like that. You just kind of gave it in a lump sum and really didn't break it down. I kind of went through it. It came out to $16.68 a square foot for site work. But, you know, if you look at how much paving they had, I think they had 38,000, 36,000 square feet of paving or something like that. And if you add that up in drainage and stuff like that, it makes sense to come to the 16. But I think for your reader, it just saves the reader some time for actually trying to crunch the numbers and figure out how you got there, which just adds to the credibility of your report, just going forward, okay? And then the only other comment I have is I have similar comments. I read the apartment being constructed. The only thing is, like, if you look at your flood map over there, part of the property is in a flood zone because it's close to the water. And I didn't see a comment in there saying that, you know, flood insurance is not required or something to that effect. Okay. Which is, you know, often the case. So I'm just saying that just, you know, pay a little more attention to it and maybe write a little bit more detail. That's something I think that's going to come with time. You know, also in that report, on page 74 of that report, you list the costs. It's either costs or the expenses. I forgot what that I think was that were costs were given to you. And on the bottom, you have the loan amount. All right, which is what was given to you. And, you know, our reports, it's all about, you know, as I commented before, public trust and credibility. You know, in my opinion, I just found that, you know, being a reviewer for a while too, you just want to watch. If that's something we do, you know, we're supposed to be free and clear of any mortgage thing. So if you take that, you know, it could easily take that out with Snagit or something like that. So you just a suggestion that don't look like you're being influenced by anything going forward. But otherwise, I thought they were very good reports. I thought they were very concise. I found no issues at all. No typos, no mistakes, no nothing. I was very pleased. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And
I
then-
just want to say, oh, I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to say in the absorption section, in the income approach, I do explain the whole rent loss and how I get those calculations. And it's also a chart underneath the pro forma. This is
saw
on
the chart.
page,
Yeah, I
this
saw
is on
that.
page 39. And I have like a little narrative description on page 39.
Yeah, I'm just
so.
saying a few more words because you know, you're there, you're concise. A lot of times what happens is it takes a while, as everybody here will explain. You know, you have it in your head, but you know, we have standard 1, which is the appraisal process, standard 2, the reporting. You have it in your head. It just takes more time to really understand, and constantly feedback from clients, and hopefully you get less and less over the years go by because you put more, address more things in words and explain more things in a concise manner. And then,
Sure.
Mr. McGuire, I just got one question. You think he's ready to get certified?
I guess it depends when you say certified, because I just think in general, I mean, you know, when 5 years is, you know, you look at that and say, you know, that's a good thing where somebody can be on their own. 2 years, you know, would he perform the things correctly, but maybe see it all correctly? I'm not, you know, I'm not 100% sure on that one. That's all. You know what I mean? It's like it's like you said, it's all about time. And the issue is, you know, is he seeing things? Is he not seeing things that just come with time? I know, like when 2 years, I felt wet behind the ears until I got to about 5 years. So I think anybody going through this process on the commercial side, and not just Ari, but I think 2 years is kind of a short time because you're just really getting to the point where you're proficient. Now, you know, he's going to start his own business and go work with banks and stuff like that. You know, without having anybody supervising him or, you know, just to bounce it off of. It's, you know, I just think the process itself is a little unusual.
I don't
And
have
by
to
the
start
way,
my own
you know,
business though.
this
Like
is
I
the
could
first
just work
time
for a
I'm going
different
through the
firm.
process.
Okay. And Christopher, you were a supervisor. I remember, I know we went over the log last time, and it was residential versus commercial. You're a supervisor now of him?
Yes, I'm a supervisor. We haven't done work in a couple of years together, but you know, we keep in touch, that's for sure.
So is there any work that was, because I didn't see your name on any of the commercial stuff that I looked at.
So when I started working with Ari, he was you know, fresh into the business, and I started him with residential work, working, you know, with the intent to work up to commercial work. but he found a better opportunity with Mr. McGuire here, who had a better infrastructure to train him. So he took that opportunity.
So Ari, where are you now?
What do you
Where are
mean?
you working now? Are you working for another appraiser?
No, I work as an underwriter now.
Underwrite residential or
Yeah.
commercial?
Residential mostly.
All right, I have no further questions, Jerry.
Okay, Norris, Jen, Maria, any questions? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to be put on the floor?
Jerry, did you have a question? Did you want to ask?
I was gonna, but John, you covered it, not, secondarily, when you were talking. So no sense going over the same dirt twice, as they say. Okay. Do we have a motion on the floor?
Well, I guess it's up to me now. All right, so I'm a little hesitant, Ari. Here's why. Is when we got your log and over the years, and Jerry's been here 20 something years. I've only been here 10 years, but the logs that I've seen, it's very rare. And I'm sure we may have in the past, but I don't recall. I think I recall one where someone actually came in with residential work and then commercial work. But I believe in that case, there was a lot more commercial work. And as Mr. McGuire said, a lot more years. And this is it's a time job. I mean, it takes time to get there. But in the work that I read, I didn't see anything that was jumping out at me that indicated that you didn't understand anything. All right. And I know I could probably sit here and start drilling you with questions, but everything in the report was covered. Everything in the reports were compliant with USPAP. There was some, I might have some disagreements with, some of the assumptions you made or opinions or something like that, but that's not what we're here to question. So I'm really reluctant to do this because I'm really concerned that you have enough experience. But you did meet the minimum requirements, correct, Deb? Yeah. In terms of
Yes.
hours. Yeah.
In terms of hours, yes.
So therefore, I make a motion that we accept Ari's samples for experience so that he can move on to the next step.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second call for a second of the motion on the floor.
I think Norris just seconded, Jerry.
Second it, John.
Okay, thank you. No, I didn't hear that. Bad ears on my part. We have a motion and a second. Discussion amongst members of the commission. Staff? Hearing none, I'm calling this vote or calling the motion to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Congratulations. You will now reach out to Debbie and for the next steps, or Debbie, the floor is yours if there's anything you need to say.
Ari, I think perhaps you heard me explain to Joseph the process. So I will, I'll get in touch with you later on today.
Okay, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you and have a good day. Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much,
being
guys.
part of the process.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. LaGreca. Thank you, Mr. McGuire, for taking time today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Number 4 on the old business on the agenda, Sarah Parenti, RCR applicant, revised experience log and sample selection. Okay,
This
Debbie,
is
I'm
the
going to give you the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is the experience log that the addition wasn't correct. So we had tabled it until this meeting.
Yes.
So this is actually the first time, we're pulling or you're reviewing this experience log for approval.
Okay. This is a RCR. Is Miss Parenti with us?
No. Doesn't look
Okay. All right. I'm pulling up the log here. I'm off camera for a minute because I know I printed this thing. Is there any selections or is there any questions with the log by members of the commission? Debbie, are there any questions or concerns from your part or staff with the log as presented?
No, no, sir.
I got a
Okay.
quick question, Deb. I just want to, on where she lists, Sarah Parente lists her work. If you just go down to the last, it says accompanying photos, notes, comp selection, research, verify, type, reconcile. It doesn't really say anything in there about analyzing the reports. Can we just, does it need to? Estimating value? Usually they say that.
Yes, typically they do say that. So do you want to table this until next month and I'll have her revise it again?
No, I think if you, so I'm going to make a suggestion as an option. You maybe just go back and ask her to review those and she can submit it.
Submit a statement similar to what you requested for Mr. Del Tordo? What happened? Did we lose?
John, you
Hello?
there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I didn't know if
Can
you
you hear
paid
me?
your cable bill.
No, but we got an Xfinity truck driving around the neighborhood, which is scaring the hell out of me. But no, my suggestion is instead of approving the log now, we do table it to next month and have her revise the log to add that in. But we can
Okay.
pick her samples, so she shows next month with her samples. So we approve the log next month and with the samples.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Anybody agree with that or no? Am I being ridiculous?
It's a fine, proper action to
Trivial.
take care of to move things along. Do we have sample selections, folks?
I picked a couple.
Please, the floor is yours.
8 Steck Drive in Newtown.
Excuse me, what did you, 8 spec?
Steck, S-T-E-C-K.
S-T-E-C-K, thank you. Newtown.
1099 King Street in Greenwich.
King in Greenwich. Okay.
10 Kevin Drive in Danbury.
Kevin in Danbury. Okay.
Picked a couple, just see if anybody else wants any. Otherwise, you can add 19 Summer Street in Danbury. That's a condo. So.
Summer.
You took it right out of my mouth, Shauna. Okay. We're good. That's what I was going to throw out.
All righty. Did you want a cost approach on anything?
Oh yeah, well, we have to make sure that. And do we have any with a? I don't know if any of those are a multi. So here's 242 Beardsley Street in Bridgeport as a multi, just in case.
Beardsley.
Yeah.
Street, Bridgeport. Okay, it's a multi. And I'll tell her to make sure that at least one of them has a cost approach.
Right.
Okie doke.
Any others from other members of the commission to add? I think that's a fair sample, and we will move forward with that. And Ms. Parente will be in our new business for next month, or old business, excuse me. Okay, for the October meeting. Great. Thank you. That concludes under the old business heading. Now we go into new business. Number 1, Martha, boy, I hope I don't mispronounce this, Peridot, RCG applicant, experience log review, and sample selection.
I believe
Okay.
Martha is here. She's on.
Martha, okay, great. Could you, Martha, bring yourself up on the screen if possible and unmute yourself? Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Are you in the witness protection plan?
Why?
Oh, there, we see shadows of you here, okay? So
Oh, no.
that's why. I better watch what I say. No offense here, please, okay?
I don't
we
know
just,
what's wrong with the camera.
there you go. Okay. Good morning. Well, could you please give your name, spelling of your last name, and your address of employment, please, for the record?
I am Martha Parizeau, Martha Parizeau, Parizot, and my place of employment is 64 Wall Street in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Very good. And do you have a sponsor with you here today?
I don't know if Michael remained on the line, but I
Okay,
was told that because this is just a log, I didn't.
that's fine. That is fine. I was just asking the question. You're more than fine. Okay. Very good. I turn this over. Welcome. And Debbie, what do you need? Any questions, concerns, or anything before we jump into? We're looking at log review and sample selection. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, you're correct, sir. Log review and approval and sample selection.
Are there any red flags from your side of the fence after you've gone through, Debbie?
No, I just verified the addition of
Okay.
all the numbers. So yes,
Okay,
everything's
thank you.
good before I sent it to you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Members of the commission, are there any questions concerning the log that you would like to discuss at this moment?
I have none. She has enough hours, right? 3,241.
Yep. Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the log?
I make a motion that we accept the log as presented.
Okay. And who's second? I'm sorry.
Me,
Oh, that was
Jen.
Jen. Thank you, Jen. Okay, I was writing here. John has made a motion to accept. Jen has seconded it. Discussion, comments. Hearing none. Can we, ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions? Okay, so the log is approved. Okay, very good. And now we look at sample selection. I had a couple, and I'll just start off if that's
Go
okay
ahead.
with folks. I was going to go on the one that was done on July 12th of 2024 at 1555 Stratfield Avenue in Bridgeport. And then I also have one at 333 Post Road West in Westport. And I'll let the others,
Can we add,
and of course, our obligatory making sure one has a cost approach.
What kind of properties are those, Jerry?
You know, John, I wrote them down. I thought one was an office and one was in a multifamily. I have them on my notes and I don't have the reports in front of me. Sorry.
All right, so why don't we go, I'll add the, I saw an industrial here. Where's the one? I saw one in Wallingford here. Let's see.
there was
62
no,
North, 62 North Colony in Wallingford. That one you got 35 hours into it. And I think those three are enough. Does one of those have a cost approach? If not, can you pick a fourth one that has a cost approach in it and submit it to us? Martha?
You asking me?
Yep. Yep.
Sure.
If neither one of those has a cost approach, just pick a fourth one that has a cost approach that you think represents your best work and submit that one too. So that would gives us 4 reports to review. That's fine.
Okay. I think
Thank-
1555 has a cost approach because that was a new development of residential apartments.
That's
Okay.
what I thought. Yeah. But
Okay, great. Thank you.
Very good. Are there, Debbie, is there any other questions or anything I need to make sure that we have Martha all taken care of?
Nope, we're all set.
right.
Martha, you'll be back on next October 9th, I believe it is. And you'll have to bring your supervisor at that time.
Great. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Martha, do you have any questions for us?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Okay. Under new business number 2, James A. Doherty IV, RCR applicant, experience log review and sample selection. Again, I go to you, Debbie, first. Is there anything that we should be aware of or what have you before?
No, his numbers on the experience log, the addition was verified before it was sent to you.
Very
And
good.
nothing
Thank
was
you.
standing out that I saw.
And I can hear Debbie wanting to hit me over the head right now saying, good morning, Mr. Doherty. Could you please give your name and spelling of your last name and your address of employment?
Yeah, yep. It's James Doherty. Doherty is Doherty, and it's 199 Anderson Road, Talon, Connecticut 06084.
Thank you very much. Okay, so you're hearing, you've been listening to the process here.
Yeah.
Are there any, from members of the commission, are there any questions or concerns with Mr. Doherty's log? We've heard from staff through Debbie, sending over. If I don't hear anything, then is there a motion on the floor to accept the log? Second request, is there a motion to be put on the floor?
I'll make the
accepting?
motion.
Okay, Shauna has made a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. I read it over. Look good.
Okay, John has seconded it. So, all right. Questions by members of the commission or staff to be put forth here while we're talking? Hearing none. The motion on the floor, I'll call to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? So, Mr. Doherty, your log has been accepted. Very good. Now, the next portion here is a sample selection to bring before us or to send. So, is there anyone who wants to, has any selections that you would like to put forth?
I did go through it. If anybody else, otherwise I can give the ones I saw.
Please do.
204 Trout Brook Drive, West Hartford.
Trout Brook. Okay.
Oh, here we go. 37 McKee Street, East Hartford.
East Hartford. Okay.
20 Woodside Drive, Talon.
Drive, Talon. Okay.
And 175 Wilson Street, Hartford.
175 Wilson Street, Hartford. Okie doke.
And we always bring up, and Mr. Doherty, if there is another report that you would like your best work and it includes a cost approach and you think, man, this is the hot potato, please, we want you to send that as well.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll do.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Mr. Doherty, for us?
No questions for now. The next meeting will be in October.
October
Yes.
9.
Okay.
And your
And-
supervisor will have to be, or supervisors, I don't know how many you have. But,
Okay. Yeah, just one.
okay, they'll have to
That-
be in attendance with you.
And that's a in-person meeting, right? Next month? Yeah.
Yes.
So make sure you bring your work files with you with all your supporting data in it.
Okay. We'll do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Doherty. We look forward to seeing you in October.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You have a good day. Thank you. We move over to legal on the agenda, and it says number 1 update. So the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. I would like to say that the regulations have received approval from the governor's office, and we will be moving forward this week with the notice of intent and public comment, which will be posted on the Secretary of State's website. This is in reference to the definition that was added for Perea and allows an applicant to sit for an exam upon completion of a Perea program and demonstration of 3, I guess they would call them local appraisals. So that's the update relative to the regulation. The commission, I think, has to make a determination as to what it is they're going to do about the AQB requirements. I think that's something that needs to be addressed, but other than that, I don't have any other information or other updates.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of the commission to Vicky? Okay. Vicky, you brought up the AQB requirements. So is there a timeline? Is there a deadline? Is there anything that needs to be addressed from your viewpoint?
Well, we do know that the new course, evaluation bias and fair housing, becomes mandatory for January 1st, 2026, and will be required for the CE deadline of January 31st, 2026. So we just want to make sure that we get whatever criteria we're going to have and address that issue. So, I mean, we have
Okay.
time, but I just want to, bring it to your attention.
I think that's important, and my suggestion is that we put that in for the. I know people are just coming off the summer holiday. You may have thought about it while sitting on a lake, an ocean, a beach, a mountain, or what have you. Then again, may not even came across your mind. Okay, it's been now brought to our, reminded us here. Let's put this on the agenda if we can for next month. Okay, and so we have had time to think. We're in person. We can get this addressed, and as Vicky just said, we may not come to a conclusion on October, but we're going to move this. Let's get this done sooner than later. In fairness to everybody.
I'll resend the criteria so you don't have to go searching for it.
Okay.
And
Everyone's okay with that kind of game plan? I know it's fluid, but at least we can, move it forward here in fairness to everyone. Okay. Vicky, is there anything else?
That's all I have at this point in time. Oh, I can say this relative to the complaints. The complaints for the audit have been sent out, and October 9th is our in-person meeting, and that's when we will have our complainants, on Zoom, if you will, because many of them are out of state, but we only have less than a dozen, or around 12, so we should be all set for next month. Yeah.
Okay, Vicky, you just said something you may not realize what you said here. We're meeting in person, and we have the technology, that
Yes, I
we can
think we
view
had
them on
discussed
Zoom.
this. Yes, we did discuss this with Jason, and we do have the capability because we've done it in other meetings. I
Okay,
do it all the time in a hearing. I have a hearing. I have 115 consumers, and the attorneys are in person, and my consumers are all online. So yes, we have the
okay,
capability of doing it. Yes.
fair enough.
Mhm.
I just
Yep.
wanted to
No.
know. Now, let me take it one step further, if I may. Since when we've been meeting in person, the general public isn't able to view our meetings or like they're doing right here. Is that something that they could do now? Is that something different that
Yeah, the
we can
meetings
now
are.
open this up
Yeah,
to them?
well, let me say this. I will get clarification relative. You're talking about the hearings for the hearings?
Yeah, no, I'm like today we still have another 5 or 6 or 7 people on here, who are listening and watching
Right.
and what have you. When we met in person, it was my understanding that sometimes we have 12 people can't view our meeting or participate in our meeting unless they're there in person. Are we now allowed to have people participate on viewing while we're meeting in person?
The meetings, I believe I understand your question. Yes, anybody can participate.
No,
Okay.
we're not doing hybrid meetings. When they're in person, they're strictly in person.
Okay.
Well, for the upcoming meeting, as I understand your question is pertaining to our next meeting, which is October. Is that what you're
Yes.
referring to? Right.
Yes.
That next meeting, which will be in October, will be a hybrid meeting.
Okay.
That will be a
Maybe.
hybrid meeting.
Okay.
Is it possible to have hybrid meetings going forward for those months that we meet in person? Because a lot of the public, I hear all the time from the appraisers who live in different states or from other individuals that would like to attend, and they're unable to when we have the meetings in person.
The problem is that there has to be special accommodations made to have a hybrid meeting. I'm not certain that I'll say equipment or whatever, it will be available for each of those meetings. For the purposes of the October meeting, we are making special accommodations.
Okay. So at least with October, we'll just focus on October for right now.
Right,
Okay.
correct.
And
Mhm.
so, and anyone, Jason or Vicky or Debbie, I may be asking the ding dong questions. Okay.
No, no,
Guilty as
that's no, that's
charged.
a fair question. That's a fair question.
So people, we come in and we have Billy Joe Robideau who has a complaint out of someplace in Arkansas or Tennessee. That person will be able to be on a video if we have questions on in October due to
That is correct.
what we're ever dealing with. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. If
Yes.
a person in Connecticut, and Jackie, I'm going to pick on you, who you're at many of these meetings and are on right now. If Jackie wanted to log in and view/listen to the meeting in October, would she be able to do it in this October meeting coming up?
Yes, yes, you will.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. It's another step in the process. That's what I'm just trying to get a clarification. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you, and I hope I answered your questions.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry, other members of the commission, are there any questions for Vicky? I'm so sorry to cut you off if I did. Nope. Okay. Thank you. DCP investigations. This morning, Debbie, probably 25 minutes or thereabouts, maybe a half hour earlier, I saw you send a report over and I took a very quick peruse. Thank you very much. I'm not going to say any of your thunder. It's all yours. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I ran the report from July 1st to yesterday, and there were 103 closed cases. And of those 103, hold on one second, I just have to get my paper up. My goodness. Oh, here it is. Okay, so of the 103, 2 were consumer complaints, 2 were Fannie Mae quality control, and the rest were as a result of the CE audit. And I have currently 31 open cases. They're comprised of 1 AMC, 16 are USPAP that are being investigated, and 14 are CE awaiting compliance hearing next month. And the 14 scheduled for the compliance, they're contesting their monetary penalty. And they'll be closed after it's determined whether their fee is waived or not. Because when I close them, I have to report them per the ASC.
To remind me, how much was the monetary fine?
$400.
$400. Okay. So we have 14 separate individuals who are contesting that $400 fine for whatever reasons that they're going to come before us to give.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Very
I'll be
good.
sent after, I didn't want to confuse everybody with, paperwork for next month and this month, but I do have a list broken down with their extenuating circumstance comment and their request. So I'll send that off to you right after the meeting.
Very, very good. Okay. Thank you. Any questions by members of the committee?
Just want to, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm just curious on the process so that I get this clear in my head for when you send the other information. When you have a person's name that and you say CE audit, it says they're pretty much, they supply their sufficient evidence and stuff like that. And some of them say closed and no issues found. And then others say closed, insufficient evidence, and then says closed letter of caution. And then another category, closed civil penalty, and then reported to the ASC. Can you just explain like an example of what those differences would be really quickly so that I can get it in my head? Because, this may come up when we're teaching the law module too. So that's kind of why I wanted to.
Right. I noticed that this morning while I was, just waiting my turn to explain this. And I did notice, I think there's 4 that I had to revise the comment and add, reported to the ASC. So I'll send you a revised spreadsheet after we're done here. But basically, if they all had to complete their CE. Some of them completed it after May 1st of this year. So for those individuals, if it was closed, like they know that they completed it late, they take responsibility, they paid their fine. I reported them to the ASC as I'm required to do. So the ones that say close, no issue found, those are the individuals who just failed to upload their CE, which they took on time, and they just failed to upload it to their credential when they renewed their license. So that's
So
why
then
they got
nothing happened to them. They got no letter of
nothing.
caution, nothing.
Right. So the ones that say letter of caution, those are the individuals that took their CE from February 1st through April 30th for this one time only, this 1 year only. Next year, if they take it after February, after January 31st, beginning February 1st forward, they're officially late. So that's what that is. But I'll be sending you a revised spreadsheet for that too. My
And Debbie, to
apologies for the
clarify,
confusion.
it's very good you put that. So these folk, all of us, we've had 2 cycles to get ready for it. And then we gave them a mulligan for the 3rd cycle. So there shouldn't be any issues, when
know.
February 1st of the next cycle, comes up and, oh, I didn't know. Well, now it's been 6 years. Now you're in year 7 and 8. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Two Connecticut law modules because it was October 20 of 21. So
Yep.
you had the Connecticut law module that was due on the 22nd and the 24th. Then you had it on our website. Then there was mention of it at least I forget where. There's like 6 times altogether that they were notified that this was coming up. So I don't know what to say. They don't
So I
pay
know
attention.
we're getting close to ending, but I'm thinking of the law module. And when would we be revising law module to get it out there, Vicky? That would be like January, right? January, February.
That is our projected time frame.
Yeah. So maybe on our November meeting schedule, we can add, if it's okay with everybody, that we add something about discussing some changes to the law, to this thing, because I think we should have a slide that kind of explains what we did and to remind them that, hey, the next time, boom, there's no more mulligans, as the chairman
Duly
inferred.
noted.
I gotta be put out the pasture because I don't know what's happened to you this morning with a few of my comments, the witness protection program. Why did I say that?
Well, I
It is
took
what it is.
I did take a screenshot of what you were talking about. I'll send it to her so at least she knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Any other questions? I'm so sorry. We're talking about appraisers discipline report to the National Registry. Anything we have on the investigations from members of the commission to ask Debbie or Vicky or Jason or Rachel, anything that you want to bring forth here? Questions on that?
I got one thing. I've been getting some calls, for those of you who know, Jennifer was involved with, they passed this new statute that says, if you're submitting, filing a lawsuit for a tax appeal in the state of Connecticut, that the plaintiff has to submit an appraisal within 120 days. And there's been some comments coming up about that type of appraisal that's being submitted. Some people are submitting these. One of them, in one case, it's an oral memorandum. It's a file memorandum for an oral report that was submitted in several towns by one attorney for these certain property type. In other cases, it's these really limited types of reports. And so my question is, kind of to Jennifer and Vicky, you're going to follow up on the, or keep track, I think, of the regulations for that law. Have the regulations been written for that law yet? Are they still being finalized? And is there any way they're going to include anything on defining what type of report that would have to be for that particular statute?
I haven't proposed any legislation for that. If there's something that you would like us to propose, then we need to work on it, but it's
No.
not a problem.
We had discussed it in the last in-person meeting, and Norris brought up a good point that it shouldn't be us from the commission that submits those requests for the regulations or input into the regulation. It should come from the, what was the word you used, Norris? The writing members of that legislation. They should be the ones putting it forward, and that's when
Absolutely.
Jennifer said she was going to go back. So I was just kind of bringing
So-
that up because
I had
Go ahead.
Go back
asked,
to the players.
I had asked OPM about regulations. They said there's no regulations for this statute.
there is none or there
It's
will
got-
be none.
Remember, then what it's got to do, Vicky will say the same thing. It's got to go to Regs review, right, Vic?
Currently, there are no regulations. If
There
you
are
want
no
regulations,
regulations.
are no.
No
There are no
regulations?
For
That's
that
what-
particular part of the statute, correct.
Correct. So when I asked, so like for assessors, right? Our regulatory agency, for the most part, is OPM,
Yes.
the Office of Policy and Management. So when I went to the Office of Policy and Management to their assessment division, I said, "Are there going to be regulations for the statute?" And they said no. I don't think there's a lot of regulations for assessment statutes.
Well,
Shauna, is that your impression, Shauna? Because I haven't really, in my capacity as legislative chair, typically when we're interpreting, the laws for assessment, typically it's just, that's it. It's just the statute. There's normally not regulations. Now I also serve on, like Shauna has in the past, on the CCMA committee. The CCMA committee does have regulations that are separate from, but they said, at least, again, from the IGP division, said that there are no regulations for this statute. So I wasn't really I wasn't given any direction to go in after that. You know what I mean?
Is that norm? I guess if that was the case, I mean, I think this is a type of thing now. I think it's just better back up and shut up and let it be a market thing where the market works its way out there. It's and as opposed to us doing anything. I was just going to say that if I know we're not supposed to, but I just want to, I think we should have been we should as a commission keep tabs if there was going to be regulations written, but if there are none, then I guess I have nothing further to say, but just wait and see what happens.
Okay.
It just doesn't give Debbie any teeth. I can see some stuff coming up and there's not much there for her to go by on this because if that particular law doesn't really define what type of report and somebody submits a memorandum of an oral report, in theory, did they comply with USPAP or not? And if everything complied with USPAP, how it's presented or how it's used, we've already went through that with the Wheelabrator case that, anything could be submitted for a court case. It's up to the courts whether they accept it or not. So
I would think, I honestly haven't heard of anybody, if there's assessment cases that are happening where somebody submitted an oral report, I haven't heard about it. I've asked around. But it would really be on, at that point, the town to challenge that, because I would assume if they're going to use it and then they're going to go to trial, they're going to have to come up with something more than just a verbal. So, are they only taking it just for like settlement purposes?
well, yes. And then the other case was, there was a recent court case with Danbury where Danbury, actually, someone didn't submit an appraisal with 120 days, and
Yep.
Danbury said, "Hey, you have to, take you don't qualify. You can't appeal your taxes." That was appealed, and the courts came back and said, basically that, once you file, you have up until the essence the trial date to comply, and that's kind of what's. I may have worded that wrong because not the trial date, pre-trial date or something like that. It says in there. so it gives some flexibility for them to submit full reports. But what's happening is it's creating a cost now to the communities, which before they didn't necessarily have to deal with. So I'm just curious because it's come up, and I just wanted to find out, and you get calls, as you all know, you get calls from people, and I don't want to be answering anything, etc. So thank you. That's it. I'm done,
Okay.
Jay.
Very good. Any other things to be brought up? Okay, we're gonna close the meeting, and then I'm gonna say something. Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Second.
it.
Nor second. Discussion. Ayes.
Aye.
Ayes. Great. Nays. Abstentions. Thank you for everyone here, and thank you for the different market participants who were on here. And I see that still Scott and Jackie and Martha are still with us, and we thank you. Jason, Rachel, Debbie, and